When I close my eyes and picture myself stepping out of the factory in the 1950s, clean-cut, hopeful, paycheck in hand, I feel a surge of possibility. That same version of me in 2025 carries a very different weight. Has the American dream fueled real progress or left us gasping for air? This isn't just nostalgia, it's your life on the line, and mine too. Stick around. We're going to unravel decades of data, picked apart by inflation, policy shifts, and plateaus, to see whether the average American's life has actually improved or if the promise has slipped through our fingers like sand. From the roar of post-World War II factory floors in the 1950s to the hush of today's remote work, this is the story of economic growth and who really reaped the rewards. In 1955, a factory worker brought home $41,000 in today's money, enough to buy a home for just twice his income. The government, flush with war-era tax revenues, subsidized mortgages and suburban development. Families thrived. Nearly every middle-income kid could climb higher than their parents. Then, slowly, fracture lines formed. Fast forward to the 1970s, my inflation-hit household income climbed to about $66K, and the mum started working. Yes, opportunities opened wider for women and minorities. But housing costs ballooned, oil crises loomed, and government help withered. Upward mobility remains strong. About 80% of middle-income kids still out-earn their parents. But the shared prosperity of the 50s began to blur. Little did we know we were approaching a turning point. Slide into the 1990s, the internet era, corporate deregulation, and tax cuts. I'm still a middle earner, now making $76K, but homes cost nearly 4 times that income. The data hit me like a gut punch. The top 1% pulled away, and their gains skyrocketed. CEO pay was now nearly 400 times a worker's salary. After tax, the wealthy still kept most gains. Productivity climbed, so why didn't my paycheck? The American dream wasn't broken. It was quietly rerouted. By the 2010s, with the post-recession dip, households averaged $81K, but wages had flatlined for over a decade, even as productivity and corporate margins surged. Home ownership became a game of limbo. Low interest rates temporarily bridged the gap, but prices soon soared. Meanwhile, mobility stalled. Only a slim majority now beat their parents in earnings. The silence in the wage data felt deafening. We had more, but the average person did not. Now, it's 2025. We just weathered a global pandemic and a slow rebound, but recession-era gains for typical households remain modest. Yes, it's better than the survival mode of the early 2010s. But let's be brutally honest. The last half-century's gains have landed predominantly in a few pairs of pockets. The economy grew, I mean mountains of wealth, but for a shrinking few. Through these 7 decades, America's story is not one of broken capitalism. It works exactly as designed for those setting the rules. To shift the tide back to shared prosperity and ensure future generations can again expect upward mobility, we need policy changes, not hope. You have the voice. You hold the voter card. It's not just about inequality, it's about the fabric of the American dream that grows thinner when rungs get stretched too far apart. And here we are, 2025. After a pandemic and economic roller coaster, median income has finally nudged upward. There's movement again, glimmers of renewed possibility. So, is life better now than in 1955? It depends. For women and people of color, access and opportunity are dramatically improved. But the spoils of growth? They've been captured, not shared. In the early 20th century, the top 10% once had nearly half of national income. Then, mid-century policies raised the bottom. Since 1980, though, the pendulum swung back. This isn't an accident, it's policy-driven. Income inequality rose, and economic mobility fell. The American dream's rails are stretching wider apart. Here's the hard truth. Our economy is working exactly as designed, not to uplift everyone, but to concentrate wealth. That's not fate, it's choice. We choose tax codes, regulations, labor laws, all of which shape who wins. And even as the middle loses influence, we still live in a democracy. If we want a fairer system, now is the moment to demand change. So who had it better, 1955 or 20 feet? In 1955, an average middle-class family had far greater relative gains, shared prosperity, and a clear path upward. Today, incomes are higher in absolute terms, but only a small fraction benefit. The economy is more massive than ever, but the dream is slipping. Mobility is harder, income gains are uneven, and too many ladders are broken. So here's the heart of it. If we want tomorrow's middle-income American to have a shot that's better than yesterday's, we have to care as loudly, clearly, and boldly as our grandparents did when they